Hi everybody, it's Carmen Berry. I'm here today to talk about my midpoint presentation on reducing food waste in schools. So if you remember, my statement of the problem was focused on food waste because in the United States, anywhere from 31 to 40% of the food supply is wasted each year. And the USDA estimated that the amount of wasted food in 2010 translated into over 1,200 calories wasted per person per day. And decreasing the waste of nourishing food items may help improve the diets and the nutrient intakes of Americans and feed those who are food insecure. So wasted food occurs along the entire food supply chain, but more than 40% of losses happen at the retail and the consumer levels. So my first decision-making matrix was on deciding which area to focus on for food waste. So was it schools or retail establishments such as grocery stores, or the production level, such as like farms and manufacturers? With the first one, with the weight of 3 out of the highest, the ethics and equity, the problem with focusing on eliminating food waste in these 3 alternatives was the question of who pays for these programs and are the benefits only one-sided? So in schools, it's more of a structured environment, such as students are on site and the only other option is to bring food from home. So they're more likely to dine in the cafeteria versus they can't really go anywhere else. And the menus follow strict guidelines, so both the school and the students would benefit from reduced food waste because schools would save money and students would eat more nutrients. But in the retail and the production level, the question lies with how would they reduce food waste without losing consumers or increasing cost. So this may be due to ordering less and reusing leftovers in new ways, but they might have to hire more staff, or they might not have enough food items on hand to meet an unexpected high demand. So then they would lose customers. So why all 3 alternatives, the benefit would be on the side of the food waste elimination. It seems that only schools would fully benefit on both sides of the equation. And then the other one that I thought was worth mentioning was the economic feasibility, because all efforts to reduce food waste can cost money, but schools represent a smaller but impactful and manageable sector in this whole food waste dilemma. So reducing food waste has the best impact on schools, so that's what I focused on. My second matrix was schools. So I wanted to compare reducing, reusing, or recycling food waste. So for benefits to school children, reducing food benefits children the most because if food waste is reduced, they're consuming the nutritious foods provided instead of wasting them. Reusing food is second most effective because while other children may benefit from using food, not all would be consuming that nutritious food because if there's like a share table that leftovers were given. Or if they're reusing leftovers in the kitchen, not all children are benefiting from it. And third is the recycling of food waste. So no children benefit from this because it's just the nutrients are going back in the soil. So it stays at baseline. The overall merit and effectiveness was based on the EPA's food recovery hierarchy, where source reduction was the most preferred, followed by feeding the hungry people, maybe that's reusing food waste, but then composting was all the way at the bottom, recycling food waste. So reducing food waste can be challenging, but the ability to use a wide range of tools to reduce food waste drastically lowers the risk of failure. Reusing or recycling food waste can be easier to implement, but the overall result will not meet the goals and objectives of the problem statement, as well as overall reducing food waste. Recycling food waste may be the easiest alternative to implement because food waste can be composted on-site for a school garden. It can be collected in bins and picked up by a composting company or donated to local farms. So it's very easy to compost foods. But reducing and reusing food waste may be slightly harder. Reducing food waste would have to either be educational in nature, such as educating students or staff like in the kitchen. It may have to result in a change in the kitchen staff to provide higher quality made from scratch meals. And reusing food waste would have to be completed through policy change that may have to be approved by the parents, as this has a potential food safety concerns of sharing leftover food with other classmates or in the kitchen. So because I found that reducing food waste has the best impact, I decided to do my literature review on reducing food waste in schools, so not reusing or recycling. So I found that for the literature review, it showed that for menus, using creative names or offer versus serve, like such as offering more variety of fruits and vegetables, an express lane, which is healthier options only that students can go quickly in and out, offering rewards, such as utilizing stickers or little tiny trinkets. It actually can result in increased fruit or vegetable consumption, but it doesn't persist after the intervention concluded. So perhaps it's used in combination with something like trying a new vegetable. And then variety. So this was in terms of cooking methods or display, such as sliced apples instead of a whole apple. One example that I found too is salad bar items were wasted more than main menu items. And it may be because presentation or preparation of salad bar items may be less familiar than items appearing on the main menu. So perhaps at home, they're used to their salad being given to them already in a bowl, and they're not creating their own. Nutrition education. So this was kind of multifaceted. So it could be education for both the students and the parents to carry the message into their home life. And also including food waste in the education, including involvement in planning of the school menu to reduce waste. So chefs in schools. So multiple studies showed an increase in participation and a decrease in food waste. So one example is using pizza, where the chef made a unique pizza with whole grain crust and paired it with a fresh spinach salad, which increased intake of both whole grains and vegetables. Chefs can positively contribute by making healthier foods more appealing and appetizing, such as using more whole grains, more variety of fresh and frozen fruits and vegetables, and with an emphasis on scratch cooking using less sugar, salt, saturated fat, and trans fats. Utilizing local farms. So the farm to school programs were associated with small increases in knowledge about, attitudes towards, and access and exposure to fruits and vegetables. And with farm to school programs, fruits and vegetable variety increased on students' lunch trays, and there were lower percentages of wasted food. Locally sourced items. So this was a second study that showed that locally sourced items are actually wasted more than conventionally sourced items, but increasing prior farm to school years decreased food waste. So the more the students were used to seeing local foods, the more likely they would use them, and actually ended up decreasing waste. So the researchers on this study thought that the wasted local produce may be related to food preparation or packaging, because students expected their food to arrive in packages or pre-cut forms, which is less likely to be the case for locally procured produce. Timing. So restructuring lunch timing. So multiple studies have showed that plate waste significantly decreased when recess was scheduled before lunch. So students who have recess before lunch are hungrier by lunchtime and eat more food and waste less. Students who have recess after lunch may find it uncomfortable to exercise with a full stomach, so they eat less at lunch in order to be more comfortable during recess. Or students may rush through lunch to try to get to recess quicker. So in addition to recess before lunch, a study showed that allowing students at least 25 minutes to consume lunch was associated with reduced food waste. So my real focus then, reducing food waste in schools, I realize that it's a multifaceted approach. So not all interventions are feasible or applicable in all cafeteria settings. So a variety of simple strategies can increase healthy eating behaviors at school, and some may be more effective for certain age groups or settings than others. So my multifaceted approach that I'm focusing on is using the chef-designed menus to increase quality and palatability, nutrition education, both just on general nutrition and also on food waste, longer lunch periods, at least 25 minutes long, recess before lunch, and partnering with local farms. So it's both an educational component and allowing an increase in variety. So when school children are consuming the meals provided at school, food waste is reduced. And reducing plate waste in schools improves the nutrition status of the students, promotes healthy growth and development, prevents chronic diseases later in life, promotes healthy eating habits that carry into adulthood at home, and improves focus and academic success. So really, reducing plate waste is actually improving the health of the students. And here are my sources.